A video challenge day 32. Take a little ride in the desert. Miss Honey Bun, say hello. I thought today I would talk a little bit about the economic state of affairs with the producer price index coming in hot today, above expectations, signaling more inflation to no one's surprise, except for the experts that publish their expectations. Kind of perversely though, the way the market's trading, or up is down, to quote Turd Ferguson this morning, or TF Metals report, he made a post saying up is down, black is white. Because a lot of the commodities, instead of jumping on more expected inflation, they've been sold off heavily. Once again, they crashed the silver, especially 1.7% again, back under $22. At this point, it's getting a little bit ridiculous. I know this could be a contrary indicator. Me contemplating throwing in the towel after 12 years, 13, 14 years, whatever it's been, having been a believer in precious metals case. And I know that they will ultimately break free and prevail. And if you don't know what I mean by that, I just mean the whoever the powers that be, it's in their interest to maintain confidence in the US dollar, so they have to sell futures and gold, and by extension silver, in order to keep the appearance of a strong dollar and the appearance of sound fiscal monetary policy. Throughout hundreds or thousands of years of history, it's been tried many, many times to print money, print your way to prosperity. We'll all get rich, just add a couple zeros to all the $1 bills in your pocket. Everything will be good. That's the same logic the same logic that is used to at the heart of the whole system today, where we're just going to keep passing trillion-dollar spending bills and exponentially grow the supply of money. And I know that it's way more complicated than it is. It's way more complicated than I thought it was when I first got into this sector, or started being interested in investing in gold and silver. It's way more complicated. You've got the whole euro dollar mess, and you got a lot of things, a lot of different strings that can be pulled. But when it comes down, you've got, people, there's so much dollar denominated debt that there's demand for dollars in economic crises, which you could argue we're in right now. But all that being said and all that aside, at some point there is always a reckoning in real money, 5,000-year-old money, gold and silver. It has always, up until recently, and I'm not saying it won't, but until recently, it always has the price of commodity money, gold, has always accounted for excess paper currency created, no matter whether it's the Deutschmark or the whatever the Dutch. I guess the Dutch might have been the originator of the dollar, back in the tulip mania. But wherever it's been, wherever kings and queens and governments have tried to print their way to prosperity by creating so-called money by fiat, saying that this piece of paper is worth this much, they always abuse it. They always exponentially at the end create too much. And gold and silver have always accounted for that by maintaining their value or maintaining their purchasing power against other commodities that you need to live, whether it's energy, food, shelter. There's been a lot of comparisons that 1 ounce of gold will buy, you know, a pretty decent suit today, and it would buy a pretty decent set of clothes for a nobleman in ancient Rome. Now, that does not take into account increases in productivity, increases of quality over given you know, increases in technology, what have you. So it should buy a lot more. And even if it just held its purchasing power, you know, silver's inflation adjusted high from the 1980s would be like $1.50 or $150 per ounce based on the price it was in 1980 compared to the inflation adjusted dollars. So it's not even done that. But more than that, I believe that it has a lot more to go, because it's been suppressed for so long and so hard since the 70s, when the London gold pool was established, and basically they created the futures market to be as a way to discourage private holding of gold, because you know, the bankers and them want it for themselves. Anyway, all that said, I've gotten close to the last few months, sometimes just doubting, you know, if I'll be alive to see it break free and see the suppression collapse, and see the bullion bankers that issue 30,000 paper contracts knowing they'll never have to deliver, to see them get broken, see heads roll, people go to prison. And I know that it will happen, and it could happen in next month. So I'm not doubting that it will, but sometimes, I guess, when you see a hot inflation number and then them tank the price in response to that, as if that's a normal market action, it dang sure can get discouraging. But that's the world we live in, and we'll figure out, maybe somehow I'll figure out a way to recruit 10,000 people to invest $1,000 I've got to, you know, there will be a straw that breaks the camel's back. The final 1,000 people that buy just a little bit of physical and just clear out these so-called dealers and exchanges that don't trade in actual metal, just in paper, and just will finally break them and show the charade for what it is. But for today, I'm just saying this into a camera and ranting and raving, and I hope you've watched and listened and learned something. If not, I'll say it better tomorrow. And my takeaway from this is, if you want to help to break these motherfuckers that are playing with the futures markets and suppressing the price, go ahead and go to onegold.com somewhere, sign up, get a couple ounces delivered, start doing it regularly. You don't even have to hold it, just like I do. Just hold it on One Gold, and they've got it vaulted. And one of these days we'll break them. So on that cheerful note, signing off, and see you tomorrow.